I'm here today with Tony Anter, Director with Share. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's so great to see you again. We're at a great show.
Absolutely.
Having a great time.
Can't beat Orlando in the winter. So
Oh, it's beautiful outside today.
That's exactly
it's beautiful.
right.
But all the fun stuff's happening in the show today.
That is right. It's great. One of the few times it's good to be indoors instead of outdoors.
It is. It is. So I have a lot we want to talk about today because there's so much going on in our industry and with Share, and I want to make sure we get to a lot of different topics. So I guess the first thing I want to talk about is that we did a survey recently at Planet Mainframe, and one of the things to me it revealed is that we're really past this era of questioning whether or not the mainframe is relevant and whether or not we need to modernize and get off the mainframe. Like the mainframe's here, we're firmly in it, we're not going anywhere, but now we're seeing this great evolution of what it can do and what can we do with it next. So with that, what are you excited about? What are you seeing in Mainframe today?
I mean, I think it would be remiss of me to do this and not mention AI. And if anyone is betting on that, I think we're 30 seconds in before someone mentioned AI.
Your bingo card.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what I'm excited about is the way, just being frank, the way that the mainframe is embracing AI and the way that AI workloads are working to modernize mainframe workloads, the way they're looking to, quite frankly, accelerate people being able to do things like hybrid and moving part of their workloads to the cloud and keeping their data on the mainframe. And I think the way that IBM is embracing like the Spire chips on the Z17 and really bringing AI to the platform, I think that's really exciting. I'm also excited to see, frankly, the amount of young people that are here and the amount of young people that are embracing the mainframe. I mean, I believe, and don't quote me on this number because I don't have the official number, but I believe it's more than 140, 150 students that are here. Some of them from Northern Illinois University, some from other places. But I mean, that's awesome to see that injection of youth into the platform and people that are interested in coming onto the platform because it's an awesome platform. I mean, I've said this a million times on the stage. I've said this a million times in the sessions. It's the best platform out there. It's awesome. And the problem is that for about 25 years, people just went to sleep. They just like, okay, you know what? We've done everything there is to do. We don't really need to change anything. And now they're starting to wake up to the fact that this is an awesome platform, but we need to get our applications, our workloads, our jobs, everything. We need to modernize them and embrace some of the new capabilities that are coming out. But those are two things I'm excited about.
Yeah, no, I think you're totally right. And I think one of the things that I see is that there is this, I guess, hopefulness and reassurance that as we're embracing new technologies and we're seeing that help attract more people to the mainframe, we're really overcoming this idea of this silver tsunami happening, right?
Well, I think the silver tsunami is still happening. I think that we're starting to bring in new blood to mitigate some of that. But I also want to caution, we're not there yet. We're not out of the woods. We're not through the doldrums, whatever analogy you want to use that. We need to keep, as in when I say we, I mean the platform. We need to keep our eyes focused on where this platform needs to go and the problems that are here and how do we fix them. We're seeing good signs and I'm positive about the future, but I don't want to go to sleep again thinking that everything's fine.
Right. And do you think that this skills gap crisis, narrative, is this a mainframe specific issue, or are we seeing this in other areas of the tech industry?
I'm going to be honest, I think it's more on the mainframe than anywhere else. And it goes back to what I said, where you had people who went to sleep and said that, you know what, we're the mainframe, we don't need to change anything, we're good, we're solid, we have amazing uptime, amazing security, amazing this, amazing that. And they didn't really foster that next generation. So I think there is a problem. Now, again, that's being mitigated. I
Hmm.
think going back to AI, I think AI is going to come a long way in helping us close that skills gap. I think as you bring more distributed capabilities in there, like DevOps, like
Hmm.
automation, like modern IDEs, modern development practices, APIs. Those are things that are going to attract that younger generation and those younger developers who are going to come in. And again, it's going to close that skills gap. But it is real, and we need to keep fixing it. Again, we need to keep our eye on what we're trying to do here.
And would you say there are these newer or new to mainframe professionals are coming in and they have certain expectations of the platform today?
I think that they're coming in, and schools are training them in general in things like, they're using VS Code, they're using Git, they're using modern development practices, they're using AI, vibe coding, things like that. They're coming in with a set of expectations. And I mean, I think trying to teach somebody ISPF and green screen and 3270, look, a lot of amazing stuff has been done with that over the years.
Hmm.
And, they're building stuff on the backs of giants. But learning 3270 is today like a hazing ritual. It is, it's a challenge to get that done. And I think the younger generation are coming in and saying, well, why can't I use my VS Code?
Hmm.
Why isn't this like the GitHub repo that I set up when I was going through school, right? And a lot of them are, they're trained in a certain way. So you either want to take a year and a half to teach them all the stuff you want to do, or you want to get them in, and in a few months they're up and productive.
Yeah, absolutely. And making sure that you're supporting your developers means that um, you're able to get the top talent.
Right. That's
You're,
exactly right.
you're
I mean, the developer experience is the key. And developers don't want to go into a bad experience when they have multiple choices, right? They're going to go where it's the best that they can be. And me, Gene Kim, the Dora Foundation, pick your poison. They've all proven and understand that a good developer experience leads to a good developer, leads to a more productive developer, leads to a happier developer, leads to retention, leads to you being able to attract the top talent. It all starts here at the developer experience, at right in their workspace. If you provide, I'm going to quote Gene Kim on this in his book, and he said, making development a delight. Development should be a delight, right? If I have to go in and toil every day to get my job done, I'm not going to stick around for a long time,
Yeah, exactly.
no matter how much money they throw at me. So,
um, if you were entering tech at 25 years old today,
okay.
would you do mainframe?
That's a loaded question. I'll be honest with you. That's a tough one. Because I have a son who's 18 years old, and he was thinking about going into engineering, and the advice I gave him was going to AI.
Oh,
I
interesting.
think that's where the hot stuff is. What I would say to that question is that the mainframe is the core platform for the largest and most financially stable companies in the world. Your banks, your insurance companies, municipalities, power companies, et cetera, et cetera. They all have a mainframe at their core, and the mainframe is what makes them money. So if I want to command a very high salary and I want to come in at the highest that I can, coming onto the mainframe platform is not a bad area. And with with the advice I gave my son, you can have your cake and eat it too, because I think the mainframe is embracing AI and embracing AI in a way that other platforms aren't necessarily doing that.
Well, just as we would tell anyone working on mainframe today, you need to be aware in thinking about AI, I think you would tell someone solely focused on AI today, you need to be aware of platforms and the different companies and what their concerns are when it comes to AI.
Absolutely.
On both sides.
I mean, end of the day, if I'm going to come in and do engineering and development, to your point, I have to be aware of AI. I have to be aware of things like vibe coding. I have to be aware of all those things. What I will say is the mainframe, and this is a mantra I've always had, and I believe Share has, and other companies have, the mainframe is just another platform. The mainframe is just another server box in your data center. And I don't mean that it's not special in its own way, but what I'm getting at is you can, learning COBOL, learning, traditional languages, those are just languages. They're not good, they're not bad, they're there, and they're there for a purpose. You can do things now like Python and Java. I mean, Java's been there for 1,000 years, but Python and other, more modern workloads on the mainframe. So if you treat it like a platform that is fit for purpose for what it does, then it shouldn't matter where you're talking about working or not. You shouldn't make yourself exclusive.
Sure. And I think one of the great things about AI is its integration into this skills conversation, right? It's showing to be such a great enabler.
Yeah.
Do you think that at the end of the day, we're talking about augmenting someone's skills, utilizing AI, or starting to replace talent with AI?
I don't think we're there yet, and I wouldn't look at it like replacing talent. I honestly would look at it like augmenting skills.
Mm-hmm.
I know that it's going beyond fast, so it's not like, well, wait a few years and we'll see where it goes. You're going to probably find out the next couple of years where it's truly going.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I look at it like an augmentation of what I do. Right. I use this analogy a lot when I talk about this. When people used to make furniture, you had to saw the wood and, drill the holes with those hand drills and, cut the, all that stuff. How many people today would go back to that versus using power tools?
Right.
I think none. I think AI, it's a simple analogy to say that AI is like your power tools. It's there to help you with the heavy lifting and augment what you can do. Right. And I think it's one of those things that we should be embracing in that regard. I use it to help write code that I want to do. I give it prompts,
Mm-hmm.
tell it what I'm looking for, and I have it write me out a skeleton of what I'm doing. Do I need to go in and then put in the specifics of what I want? Absolutely, because it's not there yet. Maybe it'll be there someday. I don't know, but it's not there yet. But to me, that's an augmentation of what I want to do. It helps me get started. It helps me do heavy lifting. And that's, I think that's where AI is at. I think it's an augmentation. I don't think it's going to a replacement. Now, that said, there is going to be a shift in things. There are going to be tasks and things that people do that are no longer going to be necessary with AI. So we have to figure out how that shakes out.
That's true. As we talk about modernization of the platform, are APIs, DevOps, and new languages fundamentally changing the culture?
I absolutely think it is changing the culture. I think it is changing the demographic of who works on the mainframe. And what I mean by that is you're getting a lot more open source. You're getting a lot more people that would traditionally never look at a mainframe. And now the mainframe is becoming just another platform in their data center, right? So I think it is absolutely changing who works on the mainframe, how they work on the mainframe, what can work on the mainframe. The rise of the APIs, DevOps on the mainframe. You have things like the Open Mainframe project. That's a whole open source project that is writing code and providing open source capabilities to run on the mainframe. Whether it fits all the needs of everybody or not, it's pretty cool, right? And go back 20 years, who in their right mind would have thought you would ever have open source running on the mainframe? Things like Python, and workloads in Python. The fact that we have, again, with the Spire chips and the Z17, AI can run right on the platform, right next to the data that is the data that feeds into the AI. I mean, all that's cool, and it's starting to attract and bring a whole new crowd of people that work on the mainframe compared to your traditional 30-year mainframe veteran. And and I want to be real clear. There's nothing wrong with that 30, 40 year. Those are the people who built the foundation for what we're doing today. So much respect. I'm not saying that, but it is cool to see it open up.
I think it's absolutely cool to see how we're evolving, like our community and our ecosystem is evolving as our platform is evolving. And with that, so you are a director on the Shares board. Yesterday at the start of the show, there was a great session and panel discussion where y'all made a lot of big announcements. Can you talk about what's new for Share?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big new ones are these blueprint events that we're doing. So right after Share Pittsburgh in August, we're going to be setting up a blueprint event for PQC, or quantum computing, right? And the effects that quantum computing are going to have. And so I was the moderator of that panel, and one of the questions I asked Tom, who's our director, who's running that. So how does this affect the mainframe, right? So quantum computing is one thing, mainframe is the other. How does this affect it? And basically, his answer was that all of the encryption algorithms, all of the encryptions, everything that makes your system secure is going to no longer be viable after the rise of quantum computing. And so we, as a platform, as a industry, have to be ready for that. So I really look forward to that, those sessions, those blueprint sessions. And that's just the first of many. That's just the first one we're going to do. I think I would be remiss. The big news, the big announcement was that next year there's going to be one show. So next year is going to be, I believe, Denver. And the Denver show is going to be in August. And that's going to be, we're going down from 2 shows down to 1 show. And I think that is going to allow us to focus and consolidate a lot of our drive, a lot of our push, make the show tighter. Not that it's not tight today, not that it's not great today, but we can make it tighter, we can make it better, and we can make it more focused on what the mainframe industry wants to see. And I think the big thing is going down to 1 show. Then we're also, the learning management system is there today, but we're going to put a greater emphasis on that and have more year-round content for people to be able to come in and watch. So as a member and as a member of Share, you're going to be able to go into the learning management system and see sessions that you weren't able to attend at the show if you couldn't come, or maybe you just had a conflict at that time. You're going to see content outside of the Share conference and be able to see, industry-leading subject matter experts talk about different topics and different things on the platform. It's going to be awesome. And I think last but not least, and I don't have the specifics on this, so I don't want to say anything that, is going to get me in trouble, but we're looking, we're sort of revitalizing our membership and how you can become a member of Share and what you can do and the cost. And, it's going to give you additional benefits and cost reductions on the conference. I don't want to go into too much detail on that. If I don't have all the specifics, I don't want to give you some of the specifics, but what I would say is keep looking at the Share website, keep looking at your emails that Share sends you. There's going to be a lot of announcements. It's a very exciting year coming out for Share.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really exciting change, and the idea of getting that more on-demand learning year-round is a really powerful tool for people.
Yeah, I do a lot of sessions at Share. There's a lot of incredible speakers here, but it's still only one time. And we get a certain amount of people in a room and you get it. And then 3 or 4 or 5 months from now, are you retaining everything you said? This gives you that ability to keep refocusing year round and hopefully close that skills gap we talked about earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to just conclude today by asking you to look forward and give us an outlook on the mainframe, and let's say.
So, okay, fair enough.
Right?
I cracked a joke yesterday when I got up on the main stage and I said, we're 30 years into the death of the mainframe, right? Like, if you remember, that article came out and said the last mainframe predicted to shut down in 1996, and we're 30 years later, and we're actually seeing an uptick in workloads on the mainframe, an uptick in how many MIPS, how much processing is going on the mainframe. So I think my prediction, again, I'm going to go back to AI. I think AI is going to revolutionize how and what we do on the mainframe. I think you're going to see the rise of hybrid computing on the mainframe. And what I mean by that is there are going to be workloads that are going to leave the mainframe and go to the cloud. I have no doubts about that. I think just like the mainframe is awesome, the cloud is awesome too for certain things, right? The cloud isn't great at everything, but what it's great at, it's great at. The mainframe isn't great at everything, but what it's great at, it's great at. And I think you're going to see the two working together in a much better way. I think you're going to see your customer-facing workloads move off to the cloud, where it does that better than the mainframe, quite frankly. I don't know if you've checked any mainframe GUIs recently. They're just not as intuitive as you would think. And keep your batch processing, keep your data, keep all of that stuff that the mainframe does better than anything. Keep that on the mainframe. I think AI is going to come on the rise, and I think you're going to see more and more and more openness on the mainframe. And I think that's going to be good, and I think that's going to be bad. Meaning, I think with more openness comes more need for security. And so I think you're going to see a focus on security on the mainframe like you've never seen before. So that's what I think in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. We'll see if I'm right.
We'll see. We'll see. Time will tell. Well, Tony, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Loved it.